G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And a little while ago I reviewed an Audi R8 and I absolutely loved it because I've always been a lover of cars that you can actually use. There are plenty of cars out there that make truckloads of power, but on a day like today when it's pouring with rain and you just want to take it out and enjoy it without having it spin off the road, the R8 was absolutely flawless. But today we're going to go down the route of a supercar which probably isn't so suited to rainy conditions, the Ferrari 458. When this car came out in 2009, it took the world by storm as it was probably one of the best designed Ferraris ever made. The wheels look absolutely stunning in black with the contrasting yellow calipers, hiding some very shiny carbon ceramic brakes. The front fascia on the car has fins and vents to help flow air all over the car smoothly. And then around the back of the car you have the classic twin tail light design with the 3 exhausts and the big diffuser. I love the way that these 458s look, and when I was 10 years old when these cars came out, I thought they were some of the coolest supercars around. One thing that is interesting about it though, and this is true for a lot of supercars, is just how small they are. When you see them in photos, they look like these huge things with incredible road presence and super wide flares on them, but really when you come to stand next to one, they're actually really no bigger than just a Honda Civic. The engine is a 4.5 litre naturally aspirated V8. Now, if we compare this with, say, BMW's 4.4 litre V8 that came out a few years ago, just to really put things in perspective, that makes 210 kilowatt and 440 newton meters of torque. Now, that is an engine from the 1990s fitted to luxury sedans, but this, from only 100 cc's more displacement and I guess a little bit more technology in a supercar, makes 420 kilowatt, double the power from basically the same displacement. 540 newton meters of torque, which is another 100 newton meters over what BMW could scrape out of the same size engine a few years prior. In fact, this makes more power than an F10 M5's 4.4 litre twin turbocharged V8, and yet this doesn't have any turbos to speak of whatsoever. The way to do that is to, kind of like a Formula One engine, have a big bore and a short stroke so that the cylinders don't have to move very far, but when they do, they expel a lot of energy. The short stroke also means that, of course, you can get this engine to rev ridiculously high, which it does nearly 9,000 RPM through the central mounted tachometer. The transmission is a 7-speed dual clutch gearbox, sending power to the rear wheels, which in conditions like today, as we'll see a bit later on, I imagine is going to be petrifying. So the engine's insane, the outside is absolutely gorgeous, but the interior is surprisingly normal actually. There's a few odd things, but the best part about it in my mind is that surprisingly for an Italian car, it's actually extremely well put together. All of the switchgear inside feels and looks lovely. The odd things, let's start with that. The door handle was not really a handle so much as a lever that you pull up to open the door. There is no infotainment screen. You have a screen on one side of the gauges which shows all of the car's information, and the screen on the other side does your Bluetooth, your CD player, your radio, with an awesome looking fully analog 9,000 RPM yellow tachometer there in the middle with a gear shift indicator. The steering wheel looks awesome, and there's a few odd things about this. One is that all of the controls for stuff that would normally be on stalks behind the steering wheel is actually on the steering wheel, like the indicators, the wiper stalks, the light switch down here, because of course there are column mounted paddle shifters that don't move when you turn the steering wheel. There's not really any room for indicators behind them, so they put them all on the steering wheel. The controls for the infotainment, which would usually be here in the middle, are actually over here where you would normally expect to find like your window controls. The transmission is a little bit strange because of course there is no shift lever or anything to put it in drive. You just pull the pedal, and then down here of course there is an auto button and a button to put it in reverse. The seats adjust fully manually, so the interior is a surprisingly spacious and very well built and lovely place to sit, with probably the best looking gauge cluster in the business. And now we're going to see what a 4.5 litre naturally aspirated engine making 420 kilowatt goes like. Driving the Ferrari 458, something I never thought I would be saying when I first started this channel 7 years ago, reviewing a humble Honda Jazz, but here we are. The transmission, like with the R8, is the first truly impressive part about this car. The way that it just goes down gears, it is just an absolutely immediate shift. Now, I can immediately tell this thing has got a ridiculous amount of power, and in the rain is going to seriously struggle to use any of it. That was like half throttle and we were already losing traction in second. Yeah, there we go, that was foot down there. So the power is certainly there, but again, what I like about it, because it's naturally aspirated, you can control the power output simply just both by how much you put your foot down, the engine responds immediately, but also by how much RPM you're using. If you're in 4th gear, you put your foot down, power down. No issues putting down the power at all. Whereas if you had something like the 488 that replaced this, that makes 760 Newton meters of torque from the turbocharged V8, well then any time you put your foot down, it's just going to be lighting up the back end. But one thing's for sure, the owner was right when he said that this is not a particularly easy car to drive. Especially in the rain, you can tell that while it handles incredibly well, it's definitely a loose car. It has been set up to be really fast in the hands of a super capable driver. But if you don't know what you're doing, this car will, yeah, it will spit you out, man. It's certainly really quick, but you know, you can use it. It's surprisingly usable power. And man, it sounds good. Transmission is fantastic. This is a scary car, man. The handling though is very impressive. Steering feel is fantastic. You can just tell exactly what the car's doing. And man, that gearbox is impressive, eh? Just like with the R8, immediate response from the transmission, and nice short gears too, so you can kind of keep the revs up where it makes that fantastic noise. Whee! I don't know what the traction control's doing, eh? I've just got it in sport, because the R8 you can just put your foot down anywhere. This, oh gee, you gotta be careful, eh? But yeah, that's nice, man, that's nice. You can open up one of the most incredible engines. If you do ever get the chance to drive something like this, and you can drive it on a day that's not pouring with rain like now, do it, because man, this is just something special, man. Thanks very much for watching, and I will look forward to seeing you again next time.